no? Especially bacterial infection, you use your antibiotic. And ang sa atin, usually, it's just a choice of um, more or less. No? You have penicillin or amoxicillin, you have erythromycin, clindamycin, tetracycline, and you have your cephalosporin. No? Yun yung mga importanteng medicines that we use in dentistry. Okay, in cases of pain, fever, inflammation, no, which is usually associated with also with infection. Di ba? Pag alam natin, if there will be infection, there's also usually pain, no? May fever, may inflammation. Kaya nga most of the time when we write prescription, antibiotic at saka analgesic, no? And there are two types of analgesic. What is more important for us is the non-narcotic analgesic, which are more or less classified as mild to moderate type of analgesic, no? And we have three types. You have the salicylates. Aspirin is the most important. Then you have NSAID. We have different types of NSAID. And then for dental, maganda ang NSAID kasi high ang
Doc,
kanya. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Doc. I think the PPT is not visible.
Ay, sorry. Is it okay?
Opo.
Yes,
Yes.
Doc. So we're okay. So we go to, then you have your analgesic. So if ever, no, in dentistry, what we need as an analgesic is the non-narcotic. And then we have three types: salicylate, which is not very commonly used now, no, especially for dental. It's used more for medical, but for dental, hindi masyado. What we use is paracetamol or acetaminophen, no, and it's one of the safest analgesic, no? And then yun lang ang disadvantage ng paracetamol, analgesic, antipyretic only, no? Very it doesn't have any anti-inflammatory action, and it's usually classified as mild analgesic. So and then you have your non-steroidal, no? And we only actually the non-steroidal which is recommended for dental is the propionic acid derivative and the phenamic acid derivative. Yun naman ang recommended for dental. So the rest is more for mga other conditions. Okay. So in cases of bleeding, what we use are hemostatics, no? So drugs which are used to prevent bleeding through rapid coagulation of the blood in close proximity to the lacerated vessels. So if we need to control bleeding, we use the type of drugs are known as hemostatics. It's also known as as coagulants, not anticoagulants, it's coagulant, or we call it anti-hemorrhagic. So it prevents loss of blood. No? Actually, there are two types of bleeding. One is called profuse bleeding, which is not common in dental. Even if there's bleeding in dentistry, normally it's not profuse. No, usually profuse type of bleeding. This is the rapid loss of blood due to rupture of a vessel, and yung tayo daw sa dentistry, hindi tayo nagpo-profuse. The type of bleeding that we experience, even if there's too much bleeding, usually oozing. Oozing lang siya. Kala lang daw natin, no, we think it's too much blood because of the saliva. But actually, kung titignan mo daw yan, konti lang yan no? Kasi we don't actually cut on big vessels. What is usually cut are just capillary. Kaya they call it oozing, capillary bleeding lang. No? So very seldom do we suffer from profuse type of bleeding. Usually sa ano yan, no? Sa medical profession, but not necessarily for dental. So the type of bleeding that we experience is what they call oozing or capillary bleeding. Okay? And in the case of profuse, hemostatics are not, especially local hemostatics, are not very effective. Mas maganda ang local hemostatics doon sa oozing type of bleeding. When you say local, usually applied directly on the area. You don't take it, but it's usually apply dun sa area. Okay. No? So, when, di ba, when, you know what's hemostasis? Hemostasis when everything is balanced. And for normal patients, no, even ano naman yan eh, di ba? When you cut yourself, usually it stops if you don't have any problem. No? Hihinto naman yan eh. No, blood usually clots. Yun lang, ang problem lang is if there is medically compromised or there's an underlying systemic cause. But most of the time, nagsastop naman ng bleeding. And there are three factors that contribute to maintaining ng hemostasis. Like kung nagme-menstruation ka, di ba? When females have menstruation, even if you don't do anything, it will stop. Kasi nagme-maintain siya ng hemostasis. Except nga, if there will be underlying medical problem. And what contributes to the hemostasis? One is the interaction of the different blood clotting factors. Diba? I think there's 13 blood clotting factors. No? Ang naaalala ko na lang dyan is Christmas factor. Yun na lang naaalala ko. So, but I think there's 13, di ba? May prothrombin factor, ano pa ba yun? No, antihemophilic factor. Anyway, so mas alam nyo yan. No? So usually it's the interaction between the different clotting factors. Another is platelet aggregation. Yung platelet actually nagka-clot. They adhere to each other and they group themselves. And this platelet actually forms the clot, the blood clot. Kaya nga yung aspirin, how come aspirin produces bleeding? Because it prevents the adhesion of the platelet. Hindi sila masyadong dumidikit. Kaya nga hindi sila nakaka-form. No? They don't, in cases wherein you're taking aspirin, they do not actually group themselves and form blood clot. No? And it's really, just to tell you, no, just to make, kasi ako nung COVID, natakot ako I got scared, no? Kasi sabi nila it might develop into blood clot or something. So, medyo na-scared ako. So, I was given aspirin to prevent blood clot. Grabe pala talaga. So talagang grabe, ang tagal mag-clot ng dugo. I got scratched. Nasugat lang ako ng konti. Normally, baliwala. No? Sumabit lang yung legs ko sa, I don't know why. No? And it was really dripping yung blood. Kaya huwag kayo masyadong matakot or you expect if the patient is taking aspirin, especially for heart problem, grabe talaga ang bleeding. So, matagal ang blood clot. No? Another is vasoconstriction. So when there is vasoconstriction, alam naman natin, we know that vasoconstrictor actually makes the blood, yung lumen ng blood constricted, lumiliit. So it's more difficult for blood to pass through the lumen. So wala kang nakikitang bleeding. Yeah? Diba that is the principally why we use a vasoconstrictor in local anesthetic. No? Para hindi siya masyadong nagbi-bleed. Okay. So, just to recap or just to remind that there are 3 stages in coagulation. Kailangan mo ng platelet kasi it's the platelet which actually forms the clot. So, platelet, di ba, will release thromboplastin. And thromboplastin is necessary for the conversion ng prothrombin to thrombin. And then, thrombin is necessary for the formation ng fibrinogen to fibrin. And once there is fibrin, no, then we record that under your blood, yung clotting time. Diba? When, I don't know if you still do that. Diba? Sometimes we do bleeding time, clotting time. Dati, kinukuha yan eh. Part of your GPA, no? We register the bleeding time, the clotting time, and when do we say it's the clotting time? Kapag tinignan mo, meron ng fibrin strands. Usually that is recorded as the blood clot. So ang effect ng aspirin as an anticoagulant, it prevents yung platelet aggregation. And kailangan kaya nga sinasabi nila, i-press mo daw ng konti, no? Para lumabas so that it releases the platelet. And you need the platelet to be able to convert. So that magpo-form siya ng fibrin. Okay? Okay, no? So aside from hemostatics, there are other measures that we use to control bleeding, no? One is pressure, di ba? And you know what's pressure and suture, right? Ligation is tinatali, which is not normally done in dentistry. Usually, ang ligation, this is for deep, yung mga very deep blood vessels, no? And hindi naman tayo umaabot dyan. So, most of the time, suture lang tayo. Hanggang suture lang. No? So, this is done kapag, have you heard of tubal ligation, di ba? Yung fallopian tube, tinatali. Ang Tagalog for tubal ligation is tali. So, not really for dentistry, no? And then thermal, no? You can use thermal measure. Cold causes constriction. Vasoconstriction. Kaya you ask your patient, no, what do you promise your child patient kapag binubunutan nyo? I'll let you eat ice cream. Good kasi ang ice. Ice causes constriction. Hot causes dilation. So ano yan, no? So if you put cold compress, that will cause constriction. Hot actually dilates blood vessels. And then you have your vasoconstriction or yung vasoconstrictor, and then you have your electrocautery. I think that's great, no? We have an electrocautery, di ba, sa Fatima. Hindi ko lang alam. I think you use that for major surgery, di ba? And sabi nila, di ba, mas maganda ang healing, no? Mas smooth ang yung tawag dito, yung incision nyo. So mas maganda kapag nag-electrocautery, no? And then we have you can use hemostatics, and we have two types of hemostatic, local and systemic. One thing about local hemostatics is it has to be applied directly on the bleeding area. Di ba tinuturo, we were taught sa surgery, no? Why is it not recommended to do multiple extraction? Kasi masyado kayong maraming bleeding sites. So very difficult in cases wherein there will be bleeding, very difficult to isolate yung bleeding site. Kaya hindi nire-recommend yung multiple extraction. Kasi very important, if you're using local hemostatic, it's to be applied directly on the bleeding area. And if you have so many bleeding sites, ang hirap ng isolation. No? When you say systemic, alam naman yan, no? You usually take it orally. No? So basically, you have local and systemic. Local hemostatics, we have different types of local hemostatics, and the difference lang is the mechanism of action. Pero pareho yan. Whether you use this, you use that, it will stop bleeding. It will prevent bleeding, no? But ang tawag dito, what's the difference? It's the mechanism of action. One commonly used local hemostatic is sympathomimetics, epinephrine. Maganda ang epinephrine sa atin, no? Especially in dentistry. Epinephrine is a very useful drug in dentistry. We use it as a vasoconstrictor. We use it for gingival retraction. It's a very good hemostatic agent. No? I learned in resto, no? Sabi nga nung teacher ko sa resto, pag you accidentally, di ba, expose the pulp, siyempre kita nyo medyo pula-pula, di ba? No, it's red already, the pulp. You put the pledget of cotton, soak in epinephrine, you put it in the area para hindi nagbi-bleed yung area kasi it's a very good local hemostatics ang epinephrine. And how does it produce its effect? Through vasoconstriction. Kaya namumuti yung area eh. When you apply epinephrine on the area, it causes whitening. Ang tawag nila doon, parang sloughing. Nagbo-white yung area that you apply, no? And that means nagko-constrict, it causes vasoconstrictor. Tapos, it's a very good, it's epinephrine is actually part of your emergency drug. So pag nagsisevere alert anaphylaxis, so yun lang, epinephrine, di ba, it's not effective oral. Usually, you can use it topical or usually parenteral. And kung magsistock kayo ng epinephrine, it's very, it's very influenced ng light. Kailangan nasa dark colored bottle siya, dark. Kasi once it is exposed, usually nagde-deteriorate ang epinephrine. Yung mga friends ko na grabe ang allergic reaction. I have a friend, allergic siya sa plaster. Yung dental stone, plaster, allergic siya sa acrylic, no? So, hirap na hirap siya kapag nag-a-adjust ng denture that you have to reduce the denture kasi nag-a-allergy siya. So, he always has tawag nila epi, ready siya ng epi. Usually, it's, they inject it, intramuscular. So, yung mga may ganong severe allergic reaction, epinephrine is actually very good. No? It's an emergency drug. It's used for bleeding sa atin. No? It's used as a vasoconstrictor. And as a hemostatic agent, ang effect niyan or ang mechanism of action niyan is through vasoconstriction. Kaya namumuti yung area. Okay? Ang bawal sa epinephrine, patients with heart problem. No? Even as a topical, no? I don't know, pero sa pharma kasi, I don't know kung anong turo sa inyo sa FPD, no? So sa pharma kasi, if the patient has heart problem or may cardiovascular problem, it's not recommended to use an retraction cord that is impregnated with epinephrine. Kasi if you buy the readily made, yung prepared na tawag nito, retraction cord, may epinephrine na yan eh. So, not recommended, ha? I don't know, ha? Sa pharma side kasi, no? Sabi, even if it's just a retraction cord, to be used, it's not usually recommended for patients with heart problem. You use a different retraction cord, but not one which is impregnated with epinephrine. Kasi nga, it's a cardiac stimulant. Okay, no? And then we have styptics and astringents, no? Styptics are usually liquid form, no? So they prevent bleeding by coagulating proteins. Kaya din namumuti din eh. Like yung astringent that you put, yung Eskinol, di ba? Bakit namumuti ang face nyo? Yung mga astringent. Kasi ganun, that's the mechanism of action. They cause cohesion of the proteins and dun sa tissue, kaya namumuti. Styptics is the concentrated form ng astringent and it is usually in the solid form. Most astringent kasi is liquid. Astringent liquid siya. The concentrated form of astringent is called styptics, and usually it's in solid form. So just like epinephrine has to be applied directly on the bleeding area. So these are the other areas. So we have aluminum chloride, gingerate. Sabi, no, if you cannot use epinephrine, pwede daw tong gingerate. But when you use local hemostatic, no, make sure you use the proper concentration, yung recommended concentration. Kasi caustic can burn the skin actually pag sobra. So, kailangan yung proper concentration. So, for aluminum chloride, good substitute daw to for epinephrine in cases wherein you cannot use epinephrine. So, aluminum chloride, 5 to 10%. And then you have ferric solution, no? And pag sinabi mo namang ferrous, that's iron, which is very good for blood, di ba? And then tannic acid, no? What's a good source ng tannic acid? Simple source ng tannic acid. Tea bags, no? So kung wala kayong magamit na tea bags is very good. You ask the patient to bite on tea bags. Especially kapag di ba most tea bags gauze, no? So ang tawag dito maganda siyang emergency, no? So yung very good source siya ng tannic acid. You ask the patient to bite on tea bags. Okay. And then we have the third local hemostatics. They have the mechanical agent. Ang mechanism of action is they absorb. Kasi have you seen a gel foam? Para siyang foam, no? Absorbable gelatin sponge. It looks like a small sponge, a white sponge, that you place it inside the socket. And then, just like a sponge, it absorbs yung bleeding sa ilalim. That's the mechanism of the mechanical agent. They actually prevent bleeding by absorbing, no, yung blood that is coming out from the extraction site. And there are 3 mechanical agents. You have gel foam, which is very commonly used in dentistry. No? So maganda sa gel foam, you can put it inside the socket and it's completely absorbed with no adverse effect. Hindi na kailangan, you don't have to remove the gel foam. So yung iba, they just put it there, no? Lalo na kung bleeder yung patient, you put it there and then suture, no? One suture just to keep the tissue, yung coaptation, di ba, ng suture para less ang bleeding. And then after a week, remove the suture, leave the gel foam inside. No adverse effect. It's completely absorbed within 4 to 6 weeks with no adverse effect. Another mechanical agent is Oxycell, oxidized cellulose. Pareho lang naman yan. No, it's basically the same. Except that in the case ng oxidized cellulose, not recommended to be placed in the socket. It's more for surface. And this Oxycell produce an artificial blood clot, which is made of cellulosic acid. Nagpo-form siya ng blood clot, ng artificial blood clot. And ang recommendation is the sooner nag-form na ng natural clot ang patient, you remove it. Unlike gel foam. Yeah. Ang gel foam is the common brand name. It's called absorbable gelatin sponge. Another brand name ng gel foam is Spongiostan. I don't know if you've used that, no? So you can actually that can be done. You know, yung brother ko, I had to do multiple extraction. May problem sa heart. Ang suggestion nung cardiologist niya, don't use Hemostan. Sabi niya, local na lang. So, gel foam. Si Hemostan, di ba, Hemostan, tranexamic acid, it's systemic. So, kasi daw baka mag-form ng blood clots. Masyadong very high ang tendency to form blood clots. So, ang suggestion niya sa akin, don't use Hemostan to control the bleeding. So ano na lang ginamit ko? Gel foam. No? Yung maganda nga lang sa gel foam, you can forget about gel foam. And you can place it inside what you call this? As a socket, no? Dressing. Hindi na kasi kailangan tanggalin. Whereas oxidized cellulose, no? Usually surface lang siya. No? Not to be placed inside the socket, but it's more of a surface dressing. And usually within 2 days kasi nagfo-form na ng blood clot. So, as soon as there is a natural blood clot, remove already so that it does not produce yung adverse effect. No? And ang problem with oxidized cellulose, it can retard epithelialization and interfere with wound healing. Plus, it can cause bone. No? It can interfere with bone regeneration. Matagal ang healing if you leave it in the socket for so long. So, ang recommendation, once the patient has blood clot already, natural blood clot, alisin na. Remove it already para it does not retard healing, and bone regeneration. Okay? The third type of mechanical agent is Surgicel. So same, no? And same as Oxycel, only used as a surface dressing, basically pareho, no? Ang advantage lang, it does not delay wound healing, but it interferes with bone regeneration. So these are the mechanical agents, no? So as I've said, whether you use this, you use that, it will actually prevent bleeding or at least control bleeding, no? Ang difference lang nila is how do they control the bleeding, mechanism of action. I'm not sure if the Oxycel or Surgicel is available kasi when I need this type of hemostatics, usually I'm definitely sure may gel foam. I don't know if the other types is available in the Philippines. Okay. And then of course you have thrombin, no? And thrombin usually comes in solution or in powder form, no? And you just put it down in the socket. Ano mo siya, parang you just allow it to come in contact with the tissue and it will promote bleeding. Alam naman natin what is thrombin, di ba? It's actually a very good substance for controlling bleeding. Okay? Okay. No? So, pinakamadali, di ba? It's tea bags. No? And very effective ang tea bags actually. Okay, and then we have the systemic, no, hemostatic agent. So we're familiar with Hemostan, tranexamic acid. It comes in 250 and 500. Ang mechanism of action ng Hemostan plus the aminocaproic acid, I'm not sure if it's available. What is available here, di ba? It's Hemostan. So pareho lang naman sila. Basically, they have the same mechanism of action. They prevent fibrinolysis. Fibrinolysis, this is a procedure that causes dissolution ng blood clot. Natutunaw yung blood clot. And tranexamic acid, it prevents fibrinolysis. Anti-fibrinolysin siya. So, inaalis niya yung fibrinolysin, no, para mas mabilis ang blood clot. Ang problem lang with Hemostan, no, one bawal sa Hemostan, yung mga patients with myocardial infarction, yung may mga blood clots, very prone to blood clots. So pag may history na ng mga blood clots, hindi masyadong advisable ang hemostatics, no? And ang turo sa amin ng professor ko in surgery, kung it's just for prophylactic, mas maganda ang 250. Ang 500 daw, 500 it's usually used, no? Ask nyo na lang si Dr. Beltran yung sa surgery, no? So basta yung ang alam ko, this is what I know, no? I'm not sure with the new one, no? Di naman ako surgeon or as Dr. Javier. But ang turo sa amin, I remember, if it's just for prophylactic, ang turo sa amin, just use 250. 250 the night before, 250 before an hour before extraction. Usually, ang 500 daw is reserved kapag meron ng active bleeding. Pag nagdudugo na, no? And you want to control it, mas maganda daw. Kaya pala siguro, even doctors, I noticed that, I observed, even doctors, to prevent bleeding, binibigay lang nila 250. Ang 500 daw, this is usually for emergency cases, yung talagang nagbi-bleed na, para mabilis, no? Ang problem nga with Hemostan, very prone to produce blood clot. And sabi din ng professor ko sa surgery noon, if you use 500, since nagka-clot siya, very fast nagka-clot, mas madalas daw you experience dry socket. Kasi walang masyadong bleeding eh. And alam naman natin, di ba, you need bleeding for healing. So, yun daw ang disadvantage if you use 500 milligram. Turo niya sa amin, 250 lang. Okay? So, Omicron is the same, no? Basically the same. Different lang siguro yung in terms of composition, yung chemical composition. But it's basically the same as Hemostat. So, it's an anti-fibrinolysin. It prevents clotting, no? By removing yung enzyme which will produce fibrinogen. So, walang fibrinogen, walang masyadong blood clot. Okay? Questions? Sa atin, sa dentistry, di ba, ano yung ginagamit natin? You have your amoxicillin, mefenamic acid, and in cases of bleeding, we use Hemostat. Pero may mga local hemostatic agents which can help control bleeding. And the best will be siguro gel foam. Okay po. Questions po? Okay. Wala. Okay. Let's go to another drug. Another dental drug, no? We go to histamine and antihistamine. How is the PowerPoint? Okay naman, no?
Yes po.
Okay, sige. So let's go to histamine and antihistamine. Okay. No? So antihistamine, it's the pharmacologic antagonist ng histamine. No? So let's go first to histamine before we discuss antihistamine. So histamine, actually histamine is a substance, no? It's a chemical substance which is found in the blood, no? It's classified as otacoid. Otacoid refers to substances with strong pharmacologic effect but whose precise function is not known. Like epinephrine, alam mong hormone siya as well as a transmitter, no? Ano ang bradykinin? Ano ang prostaglandin? Ano yung mga slow reacting substances? Hindi sila transmitter, hindi sila hormone. For a substance to be a hormone, it has to be produced by the gland and released directly into the bloodstream. So, hindi sila hormone. Hindi din naman sila transmitter. So, ano sila? What are they? But they have very strong pharmacologic effect, pero hindi alam what it is really. So, they call it otacoid. They are classified as otacoid, and usually histamine is stored, no? Meron siyang preformed na histamine. We have preformed histamine, and usually it is contained in the granules of the mast cells. Meron na tayong histamine, di ba, in the mast cells, and then during injury or when you eat during allergic reaction, nire-release lang siya. So preform siya. Hindi siya pinoproduce, but it's usually preformed and it is usually stored in the granules of the mast cells. And it's released during allergic reaction, no? During injury, or yung tawag dito, in cases wherein yung venom, no? So nire-release lang siya. Okay, no? And these are the pharmacologic effects ng histamine. We'll talk antihistamine later, no? So let's understand first what is histamine. The most important effect ng once histamine is released, it's in the blood vessels. And it causes dilation ng arterioles, no, ng mga blood vessels. And this is because of the receptors H1 and H2. Remember the receptors. For epinephrine, it's alpha and beta. For parang konti lang naman ang receptors sa pharma, no? For acetylcholine, it's muscarine and nicotine. And then for histamine, it's called the H1 and H2 receptor. So histamine, how does histamine produce its effect? Once it is released, it combines with the H receptor, H1 and H2. And what is the effect of histamine? Depends on the receptor. that it combined. For the effect ng histamine on the blood vessels, usually it's both H1 and H2. For bronchoconstriction, which is the most common cause ng death following anaphylaxis. Di ba, pag very difficult to breathe, even for asthma, di ba, it causes bronchoconstriction? Kasi constricted ang respiratory tract, no? H1 lang yan. It's an H1 receptor. Walang pakialam si H2. Histamine has to combine with the H1. Whereas histamine, ang effect niyan sa blood vessels is both H1 and H2. Kaya siguro antihistamine is not the recommended choice for anaphylaxis. Kasi para completely controlled yung effect ng histamine on the blood vessels, you need H1 and H2. So epinephrine, di ba? Epinephrine is the drug of choice for anaphylaxis. And epinephrine is the physiologic antagonist of histamine. Antihistamine, basta may antihistamine is the pharmacologic antagonist ng histamine. Histamine can also increase gastric secretion. H2 naman siya. Walang pakialam si H1. Clear? Okay. And then it has what, no? Histamine can also affect the nerve endings, no? Usually causing itching, kaya makate, or sometimes may pain because of the effect ng histamine on the nerve endings. Okay. Okay? Okay, no? Kapag severe or immediate, no, more systemic ang effect ng histamine, we have anaphylactic shock. And sabi ko nga kanina, no, the faster you see the effect, usually madalas yan, the more severe the reaction. Kaya kung delayed, hindi ganon, no? Kaya hindi ganon ka tawag dito, it's not as severe as kung immediate yung response ang patient. So normally kapag local lang ang effect, no, ng histamine release, what is produced is what is known as triple response. So pag narinig niyo yung triple response, usually that refers to histamine. Walang ibang chemicals that is known to cause the triple response. Triple response is associated with the local release of histamine. And it's called triple response kasi you have three effects. It starts with local dilation ng arterioles. We call it localized red spot. Di ba ang allergic reaction, pag may allergy ka, nagsastart siya ng red spot. Kung hindi mo alam kung allergy siya or kagat ba yan ng lamok, no, kasi pareho silang red spot. But what happens how do you know it's allergy? Kasi nagsispread yung redness, no? That's called flare or red flash. And then nagkakaroon ng emboss, no? And that they call it wheal formation kasi parang may tubig. So water, it's because of the localized accumulation ng edema fluid. Parang nag-emboss yung allergy. So, di ba, pag allergic reaction, parang nagsispread. Kaya alam mong mukhang allergic reaction siya. Rather than if it's just a bite of a mosquito or something. So, usually, once histamine is released, no, locally or not systemically, no, what is produced ng histamine is called the triple response. Localized red spot, flare, and then you have the wheal formation. And this is because of H1 and H2 sa blood vessels. Okay? Okay. When it is severe, ang allergic reaction, we call it anaphylactic shock. So, These are the usual signs ng anaphylaxis. Patient becomes, di ba, parang restless, difficulty in breathing, no? And then, merong wheezing, and then it can cause, no? Pag hindi naagapan, then, alam na natin, di ba? So, luckily for us, no, most of the drugs that we use, hindi naman allergenic. Plus, since we use it oral, very seldom nag-anaphylactic ang patients kapag oral. Although kailangan mabilis, yun lang matagal, no? So yun yung tawag dito, kaya mas safer ang oral kasi although pwede, kaya lang mas delayed, unlike if it's kapag you give it parenteral, syempre mas mabilis. So especially kung allergic ang patient, mas mabilis ang effect. Okay? Kaya nga sa hospital, SOP yan Kapag allergenic, usually, titignan muna nila kung may allergy ka No? Kasi usually sa hospital, parenteral So, kung allergen yung gamot, no? That has to be given IV, nagtest talaga sila. Hindi skin test. They really test just to check, no? Na talagang hindi ka allergic. Mas maganda pa rin kasi ang ganong test, unlike skin test, di daw reliable ang skin test. And di ba, may doctors, di ba, you call that allergologists. So if you have so many allergy and you want to find out what is causing your allergic reaction, you go to an allergologist. Siya yung doctor for allergy, doctor that specialized for allergy. Okay? Alam mong treatment nila dyan, what they use for testing, they will expose you little dun sa mga allergen. Tapos titingnan nila kung ito ba yung nagkukos ng allergic reaction mo, no? And yung, meron akong nephew, meron siyang skin allergy. Allergic siya sa chocolate. Pag kumain niyo ng chocolate, luckily, ang treatment niyan sa ganyan, they expose you little by little until you develop tolerance. Unti-unti lang, ganito lang, konti-konti lang, para na-expose ka lang. Usually, that's what they do. Pwede naman. Pero wag lang madami. Kasi or else, baka magkaroon ka ng anaphylactic shock. Okay. Questions? Okay. How do we prevent the effect ng histamine? Kaya di ba kung minsan, have you, yung iba yung parents natin, di ba sasabihin sa'yo, oh, why are you eating this? May gamot naman Or, minom na ako. No? I will eat this and a possibility na allergic ka sa ganito, tapos kakain ka ng hipon, allergic ka. So, yung iba, iniinuman na nila para kina-counteract na. So, usually, ang treatment is you prevent the release. No? So, you can actually prevent the release of the histamine. Although, kasi ang histamine kasi, we don't use it therapeutic, di ba? Ginagamit to, this is usually used, histamine is used to check for diagnostic purposes. Titignan lang kung ano ba yung nagtitrigger ng allergic reaction mo. But as a therapeutic agent, di siya ginagamit. You don't use that for treatment. It's more for diagnosis. And one way of controlling yung histamine is you inhibit the release of the histamine. Wag kang mag-release ng histamine. Another is called physiologic. Histamine can also be inhibited or controlled through physiologic antagonism. No? And the physiologic antagonist ng histamine is epinephrine. Okay? Physiologic siya. No? Epinephrine causes bronchoconstriction. Histamine, di ba, causes bronchoconstriction. So, H1 siya. So, that is usually the cause of death following yung sa anaphylaxis, difficulty to breathe, kasi constricted, even in asthma, no, di ba constricted ang air passage. So, ang treatment is you need to dilate. Dilator. Epinephrine is a very good bronchodilator. Beta receptor. So, opposite ang effect. Histamine causes constriction. Epinephrine causes dilation. And that's called physiologic. So, kung nag-overdose ka ng depressant, binibigyan ng stimulant. Kung sobra naman ng stimulant, kina-counteract yan ng depressant. Opposite ang effect. Pag ganon, it's called physiologic antagonism. And of course, we have the pharmacologic antagonist, which is the antihistamine. No? So, pag sinabing pharmacologic, di ba, you block the receptor. H1, H2. Magre-release pa rin ng histamine, but what is prevented by the pharmacologic antagonist, no? The antihistamine prevents the release histamine from combining with the H receptors. No combination of histamine with the H receptor, no allergic reaction. And that's the mechanism of action ng antihistamine. It does not inhibit, the antihistamine does not inhibit the release. What is prevented is the interaction between histamine and the receptor. Okay? Okay, clear tayo doon, no? Okay, no? Okay. Antihistamine or anti-allergic is classified based on the receptor that it blocks. So kung sinabing it's an H1 receptor antagonist, that means it prevents yung combination, or it prevents the release histamine from combining with the H1. Kung H2 receptor antagonist, it prevents yung histamine from combining with the H2. Okay? Dali namang intindihin yun, di ba? Okay. H1 have two types of H1 antagonists. One, they call it the H1 classic. These are the broad spectrum antihistamine. Not just for allergy, but for other indications as well. Kaya ang tawag nila dyan broad spectrum antihistamine. Hindi lang siya pang allergy. It can be used for other conditions, no? And then the non-sedating, ito yung mas narrow spectrum, only for allergy. So, pag sinabing broad spectrum antihistamine, usually this is the classic, the H1 classic. And then you have the H2, it blocks H2. So iba ang gamit ng H2 antagonist. Since H2, ang effect ng histamine when it combines with the H2 receptor is yung acidity sa stomach, di ba, gastric secretion. Ang gamit ng H2 receptor antagonist is not for allergy. Ang gamit yan is to control gastric secretion. Have you heard of Tagamet? Yung pang hyperacidity, it controls acidity. So hindi siya pang allergy. Okay, clear? Okay. So aside from the anti-allergy, so the classic H1, no, as I've said, it's broad spectrum. Hindi lang siya, it does not only block antihistamine in terms of blood vessels, no. Also it blocks yung kanyang effect on the nerve endings, yung itchiness and sometimes pain na associated with nerve endings. So this is for the allergic reaction. So yung effect ng H1 antagonist, no, related to allergic reaction. And then meron din siyang other effects. Very good for sedation. So if you need something to make you relax and you cannot use Valium kasi wala kang S2 license, no? Or you need somebody na gusto hihingi sa iyo ng pangpakalma, you can use sedative antihistamine. Usually, it does not require an S2 license. Allowed tayo to use this. Pipili ka lang ng gamot which has high sedative effect. Kaya nga din, pag uminom kayo ng pang-allergy, di ba, you feel drowsy. You feel sleepy. Kasi nagkakause siya ng sedation. These are basically side effects of the antihistamine. Hindi lang siya pang allergy. It can cause xerostomia. So kung laway ng laway yung patient mo, no? O baka gusto nyong i-control, no? Kasi it can cause xerostomia. Kaya 'di ba pag uminom kayo ng cough for colds, no, yung mga antihistamine, usually nagde-dry yung throat, no. That's an effect ng antihistamine. Other effects ng antihistamine. Very good for motion sickness, yung contrabiahilo, meclizine, bonamine, it belongs to the antihistamine. Classic. And it can be even used as a local anesthesia. Topical. So, I remember may board exam questions. If the patient cannot take esters and amide, what is the substitute that you can use? You know, antihistamine was first discovered more of for local anesthesia. Pwede siyang local anesthesia, especially for tissues which is medyo denuded na tissue. Pwede siyang local anesthesia. So, kaya nga tawag sa kanila broad spectrum eh. Hindi lang pang allergy, pang ibang effect pa. Okay? Okay. So these are the classic H1. So, andito yung Benadryl, diphenhydramine. Andito yung meclizine, which is bonamine. And then you have phenacetine, which is an antipsychotic. Hindi siya, medyo matapang yan. No? So, usually preferred for for mga psychosis. So, these are the agents, the dosage, and the special effect ng by the way, merong ang tawag dito, merong bonamine na dapat kung gusto mong pang sedation yung difen. Meron kasing bonamine. Merong Benadryl, which is guaifenesin, ang generic name niya. That's for colds. Ang merong sedative property, kung gusto mo, it's Benadryl it's dapat diphenhydramine ang sedative effect. Very maganda ang sedative effect ng diphenhydramine. Tayo kasi we don't like patients, di ba? We don't like working on a tulog na patient. Gusto mo lang sedated lang. Gusto mo lang groggy lang ng konti, relax lang. But we do not like to work on a patient which is asleep. That's called sedative. Sedation lang. Iba yung sedation sa hypnotics or sleep. Kaya nga sedative, hypnotic. And this is called hindi ka talaga tulog. Relax ka lang. Okay? So, for motion sickness, di ba, we use meclizine, which is very good for motion sickness. So, it's a classic H1 antagonist. Not only good for allergy, but for other conditions as well. And as I've said, if we need to sedate the patient, the only thing or the only drug that we're allowed to give to the patient is diphenhydramine. Kailangan mo ng sedation. Yun lang ang pwede tayo. The rest kasi hindi tayo pwede. Okay. Questions po? Okay. No? And then, these are the adverse effects. Clear naman yan. And then these are the non-sedating. Non-sedating means hindi siya nakakaantok. It's just for allergy. So if you have allergy, tapos you don't want to sleep, non-sedating. Kung gusto mo namang matulog or you want to relax, you use the sedating. You use the H1, the classic H1. And then you have H2. Hindi siya for allergy, it is used to control gastric secretion. Iba yung gamit, no? Although it's an antihistamine, but it's an H2 receptor antagonist, it is not used for allergy, it is used to control gastric secretion. Okay, questions? Any questions? Ay, sorry, what happened? May tanong po. Okay po tayo?
Opo.
Okay, sige. So, dadaanan ko lang yung local anesthetics, no? Kasi, tapos na ba kayo ng ANES? Next week pa yata si Doc Javier, Doc Beltran. Nakipagpalit kasi ako, di ba? Dapat siya ngayon eh. So, this week, but I'm not available next week. So, nagpalit kami ng schedule. Sorry, no? Hindi ako pwede next week. So I think ANES siya yata next. So, daanan lang natin to. Total, i-discuss naman to ni Doc Beltran. So, this is from the standpoint ng pharma. So, kuminsan may conflict when it comes to sa ANES, no? And wait lang po. Siguro mas maganda tong dinidiscuss sa sa ANES talaga, sa anesthesiology. And lang tayo more or less yung gamot kasi yung techniques, yung mga infiltration, sa na yon, sa ANES na siya. ANES. Okay, can you see the slides? Okay naman
Yes
yung
po,
slide.
Doc.
Okay. So let's go to local anesthetics. No? So sometimes they call it regional anesthetics. And as we mentioned, di ba, local anesthetics, kaya nga local lang, it does not affect the central nervous system unlike at GA. Ang GA, kapag ang tanong sa inyo, anesthesia or anesthetic agents which can affect the central nervous system, it's general, not local. Sorry. Slide. Okay. So, as we mentioned, di ba, local anesthetics, just like analgesic, are used to relieve pain, which occurs during dental procedure, but the mechanism of action is different. How they relieve pain is different from analgesic. And some of the important history, no, in terms of sa local anesthetics. No? So the first local anesthetic that was discovered was cocaine by Niemann. No, and it was first used as anesthesia, local anesthesia or topical anesthesia for eye surgery. And cocaine is also classified as a CNS stimulant. Very addicting, no? So can cause tawag dito, just like any stimulant, no, it's a stimulant, kaya hindi na nga ginagamit ang cocaine. Sa States, ang tawag nila sa cocaine, Coke. Kaya pag pumunta kayo sa States, huwag kayong hihingi ng Coke. Di ba sa States, it's called soda. Gusto mong mag-soft drinks. No, it's not called soft. No, tawag nila doon soda. So, huwag kang magko-Coke. Baka bigyan ka ng cocaine. So, ang tawag nila sa cocaine is dito, medyo, it's not the most common, although siguro may cocaine, no, here in the Philippines, pero hindi siya masyadong, not very common. But this common drugs that we use for addiction, it's more of shabu. Sabi nila, they say that there are two types of addicts. You can either be addict to a stimulant, or you can be an addict to a depressant. Dalawa lang daw yan. No? Either stimulant or depressant, and magkaiba ang effect, di ba? So, alcohol is a depressant. No? Kaya nga pag may problema kayo, drink alcohol kasi it makes you forget. No? Pero palliative lang yan. No? Does not solve your problem. Okay. So, ang cocaine is a CNS stimulant, no? And so many adverse effects siguro, kaya hindi na rin ginagamit. And in the Philippines, it's cocaine, I think it's very expensive. Kaya hindi siya, unlike shabu. Kaya hindi siya popular in the Philippines. Another is the use of, this is the history. And then in 1905, the synthesis, no, of procaine, which is an ester. It was discovered by Einhorn, and up to now, they consider procaine as the safest injectable local anesthesia. Procaine pa din daw. No? It's actually safer than lidocaine. And then we have lidocaine, which was developed in the early 1950s, and up to now, diba, lidocaine is the standard to which other local anesthetics is compared. Is it safer, more toxic, less toxic? Usually ng lidocaine. No, it's usually the standard now. And for most of us, the anesthesia that we commonly use, diba, it's lidocaine. So, ang ano natin dyan, mga cane. No? Yan yung most pangalan ng local anesthesia, diba, mga cane. No? It's one of the most frequently used drugs in dentistry. It relieves pain. And sa atin, we use it topically. You use it for infiltration, and we use it for block. No? Most local anesthetic is synthetic. They are basically synthetic except cocaine. The only natural local anesthetic is cocaine. All the rest, lidocaine, procaine, ano pa ba, bupivacaine, mepivacaine, etidocaine, no? They are all synthetic. And they are base. Di ba kanina ang tanong ko is, what is local anesthesia? Is it a base or an acid? So drugs are either base or acid. And one example ng base, it's local anesthesia. More of, they are usually basic. Bases sila. And when it's in the base form, hindi siya water soluble. Fat soluble kasi ang form ng anesthesia. And to be able to form a water soluble form ng local anesthetic, it's converted or it's combined with the salt to form a water soluble solution. Kasi yung water, yung liquid in the local anesthesia, it's basically water. Kaya nga ang tawag niya sa carpule, di ba, it's aqueous solution of lidocaine. Kasi it's water. When you say aqua, di ba, that's water. So basically, no, para magkaroon ng injectable solution, since they are, pag nasa base form ang anesthesia, fat soluble siya. And since you need a water-based solution, kino-convert mo na siya into the water soluble, no? It's converted to form our usually combined, no, with an acid to form a water soluble solution. Kaya siguro, di ba, tingnan nyo yung if you look at your carpule, nakasulat doon lidocaine hydrochloride. diba? Procaine hydrochloride kasi hindi na siya the base form, it's already the salt form. And it is the salt form which is water soluble. Okay? Siguro hydrochloric acid ang kino-combine. Anyway, I do not know. Really, ask Dr. Beltran kung anong ina-add, no? Pero kung salt form siya, if it's in the form of the base, hindi siya water soluble. So it has to be in the salt form. And why is it converted into the salt form? Kasi it's more stable. And although it is acidic, yung the buffer characteristic of a normal tissue converts yung local anesthesia into more non-ionic form. So this is the difference between the salt and the, di ba sabi natin, mas maganda kung non-ionized. But in the case ng local anesthesia, mas madami siyang ions. In the salt form, sa carpule, mas marami siyang mas marami siyang ions. But once it is injected, because of the pH ng normal fluid, mas nag-change ang anesthesia into its non-ionized form, which is the one that is, dahil non-ionized na siya, it can penetrate now the cellular membrane, no? And then it can produce now the effect. Yung pa rin yun, kaya lang, kino-convert pa siya. Yung tinatawag nilang ionization factor. Okay? And usually, no? So, ito yung difference. Okay? No? So, these are the characteristics of an ideal local anesthetics. Yeah. Clear naman yan. Yun na naman natin dapat i-explain dyan. Okay. So, we have two types, no? Actually, there are three types of local anesthesia. So as I've said, this is based on pharma, ha? I don't know about the ANES. Okay, anyway, no? Basically, the most common classification is based on chemical. Ang classification ng local anesthetic is based on chemical composition. So we have esters, and we have different types of esters. You have benzoic acid derivative, no? You have the meta-benzoic acid derivative, meta-amino-benzoic acid derivative, and the para-amino acid derivative, PABA. These are the esters. No? So, wait lang. Cocaine is benzoic acid derivative. Hindi naman natin yung kailangan. So, sa dentistry, usually, ang ginagamit, no? So, dentistry is the PABA. Procaine, propoxycane, although most of you probably use lidocaine, amide. Dati nun kasi may esters. No, I don't know kung meron pa yan. No? Yung Ravocaine, dati may Ravocaine pa. And, but most of, siguro, pag you do a survey and you ask, no, ano yung mga ginagamit na anesthesia, usually it's lidocaine. So, ang PABA, PABA kasi para amino-benzoic acid siya, not to be combined with sulfa. So if the patient is taking sulfonamide, no, recommended you don't use local anesthetic, which is PABA derivative. Nalilesen yung effect ng sulfonamide. So yun yung possible interaction ng local anesthetic with sulfonamide. Hindi naman natin masyadong ginagamit yung sulfonamide. Anyway, kasi pareho silang PABA. So, not recommended to use the PABA derivative if patient is taking sulfonamides. Okay. And then you have the amides. No? We have two derivatives ng amide. You have the xylidine derivative. So, lidocaine, mepivacaine, no? And then the other form ng amide is the toluidine derivative, prilocaine. So, ester, amide, and then the third group are non-ester, non-amide. So, yeah, example of this is diclonine. Diclonine is not ester, not amide, no? But it's only available for topical. And then articaine, na another non-ester non-amide that is available for injection. And di ba sabi nga ni Doc Beltran, maganda daw ang articaine. Kaya lang articaine is quite expensive compared to lidocaine. Mas mahal siya pero mas maganda daw ang articaine. And it's non-ester siya, non-amide, no? And it's the one which is available for injection. Ang diclonine kasi it's also non-ester, non-amide, kaya lang it's only available for topical application. Duration of action depends on the protein binding capacity, directly proportional, no? The higher the protein binding capacity, the longer the duration of action. And then for the potency, by the way, no? Tawag dito, esters, di ba? Esters are more prone to produce allergic reactions than amide. Kaya yung ibang dentist, they don't do skin test anymore, no? Kasi amide naman, lidocaine naman ang gamit. So hindi naman siya known to produce allergic reaction. Plus some nga that do not believe in skin test because there's such a thing as a delayed allergic reaction. Kaya yung iba hindi na nagsiskin test. So, I'm sure you know of some dentists, no, na hindi na nagsiskin test. Especially if they're using amides kasi nga not known to produce allergic reaction. Esters are more prone to produce allergic reaction. And if you're allergic to an ester, you're allergic to all esters. Meron siyang cross-allergenicity. That is why the best substitute for a patient allergic to an ester, di ba, is an amide. One good thing about an amide is walang cross-allergenicity with amide. Kung allergic ka sa lidocaine, pwede ka pa rin ng Citanese. Kasi walang cross. Unlike sa esters, talagang pag allergic yung patient sa ester, allergic ka to all esters. Okay? Potency depends on lipid solubility. So, directly proportional, more lipid soluble, more potent. No? Onset and action depends on the ability of the agent to diffuse through the connective tissue. And they say that amides usually, it takes, yung onset of action, it takes 2 to 4 minutes after injection. No? Ang procaine, esters usually take longer time before it produce the effect. No? So we've discussed what's the difference between onset and duration, right? So clear naman yan. Kaya we wait for a few minutes before you do before you check, diba? Kasi may onset. And for amides, usually mga 2 to 4 minutes daw. And for esters, no? So usually 10 to 20 minutes. Okay. The primary difference between esters and amide is the site of metabolism. So, ang esters kasi it's metabolized both in the plasma and the liver, whereas amide is dependent on the liver. Kaya nga kapag may problem sa liver ang patient, ang delikado is the amide. Kasi it's the metabolism is basically, or it's more or less dependent on the liver. So if the patient has liver problem, it might interfere with the biotransformation of an amide. Unlike an esters, may plasma pa naman. And ito yung madalas na tinatanong, no? The primary difference between an esters and an amide is the site of metabolism. Esters are metabolized both sa plasma as well as sa liver, whereas amide is dependent on the liver. Kapag tinanong ka anong drug o anong local anesthetic is contraindicated to patients with liver problem, hanap ka ng amide. Okay, for excretion, lahat naman kidney, no? Ang sabi, no, amides daw usually ang effect niyan is it's more potent because it's not completely metabolized. So some of the molecules are actually unchanged, and 10% daw is hindi siya in the form of metabolites. Kaya sabi nila, that contributes to the longer effect ng amide. Whereas in the case of the ester, it is completely metabolized, di ba? And anong characteristic ng metabolites? It's always less active, less potent, or less, ang tawag dito, or less potent, no? Than the parent compound. Sabi nung amide, mas maganda ang amide to use kasi nga it's not completely metabolized. Okay? But still, it's kidney, which is excreted. Wala namang excretory organ, which is important when it comes to drug, except the kidney. Okay? So, action, no? So, I think si Doc Beltran na lang ang mag-explain. Okay? So, yung depolarization, repolarization, no? So, actually, what causes the transmission, or how is the local anesthetic prevents yung blocking. Diba sabi natin, local anesthetic produces anesthetic effect because it blocks yung pathway, yung painful pathway. And this is done through a change in polarization. No? Nag-change ng polarity. So, ang resting nerve fiber, electronegative siya inside, electropositive siya outside. Pag merong nerve conduction, if there is an impulse, nagkakaroon ng depolarization. Nagiging electropositive inside, nagiging more electronegative outside. And that is the one that prevents the conduction. And this is because of sodium. Sodium is positive, no? So, madaming sodium outside. So, once there is a painful stimuli, nag-open up yung mga sodium channel. So, papasok yung sodium goes inside the nerve fiber. Since positive ang sodium, nagkakaroon ng reverse polarity. Magiging electropositive siya inside, electronegative siya outside. And that is the one that causes the conduction of the stimulus. Pagka lumipat na yung stimulus, di ba, remember the autonomic, may preganglionic, postganglionic. So lilipat yung impulse. What happens to the nerve fiber before? Magkakaroon siya ng repolarization. Yung sodium channel, it will expel the sodium outside. So babalik yung polarity, babalik na electronegative inside, electropositive outside. If you remember yung sodium pump, so ilalabas ulit ng sodium pump yung sodium para bumalik siya sa dating niyang polarity. Okay. Bahala na si Doc mag-explain further. Si Doc Beltran. Okay. No? So, mechanism of action, they call it the ionization factor. So, yung dental cartridge, di ba, acidic siya. It's acidic. So, with more or less ang kanyang pH, no? In the carpule, it's around the 4.5 to 6. And usually acidic, di ba? The lower the pH is acidic. But once it is injected into the tissue, since ang pH ng normal tissue is more or less mga 7, ang nangyayari dun sa anesthetics, no, because there's a change in pH, more of the local anesthetic is converted into its non-ionized form. Based, di ba, base, high pH, more lower degree of ionization, mas maraming non-ions. Since they are non-ions, they can go inside the neuronal membrane. But once inside the nerve, magko-convert siya ulit sa ions. Kasi may change ng pH. That is why, di ba, sabi nga natin, ang local anesthetic, better siya kung mataas ang pH ng body tissue, which is normally, neutral naman ang pH ng normal tissue, di ba? Mga 7. So that's very good for the effect ng anesthesia. Kaya nga, inflammation decreases the pH, nagiging acidic siya. So hindi maganda for the anesthesia kasi nililesen yung conversion into non-ions. And then once it is inside the nerve, pumabalik siya ulit sa ions. And it is the ions inside the nerve which actually prevents, or which is the one that causes the anesthetic effect. And they do this by blocking sodium. They block sodium. So no sodium, the ions inside the nerve occupies the sodium channel. So since hindi na since the sodium channel already has the ions of the local anesthesia, sodium from the outside cannot go inside anymore. So hindi magkakaroon ng reverse polarity. Hindi magkakaroon ng depolarization. So no depolarization, no conduction of the painful stimulus. Okay? Okay, no? So pharmacologic effects ng local anesthetics has to be reversible blockade. Reversible ang effect niyan, no? Kasi sinasabi nila it's very very safe ang local anesthesia for dental purposes. Kasi nga it's reversible. Lahat naman ng effect is reversible. And if the nerve, if you remember the only part ng nerve where you can conduct yung nodes of Ranvier, no? So if a nerve is mixed nerve, that means meron siyang different, that nerve controls different function. Kasi daw ang anesthesia penetrate nerve with very thin myelin sheet. They cannot, di ba? Local anesthesia cannot penetrate myelin sheet. So, it depends now kung gaano kalaki yung myelin sheet ng nerve. So, if this nerve has different myelin sheet, no? Usually, it affects the thinly myelinated and they do not affect the myelin sheet. Na-guess ako. Di ba the only part ng myelinated nerve na walang myelin sheet is the nodes of Ranvier? Tama ba ako? Oh, anyway, no? So usually, reversible siya. If that nerve is a mixed nerve, that means it controls different function. So, the first function that is lost by the local anesthetic is autonomics. Yung function ng cold, warm, pain, touch, and pressure. And then it progress, no, to proprioception until motor function. Sa dentistry, the use of local anesthetic in dentistry, hanggang lang daw tayo, be only up to touch, up to pain actually. Yung pressure, even pressure daw is not affected. Yung local anesthetic that we use in dentistry, no, hindi daw, it does not go in up to the pressure. Hanggang pain lang daw tayo. Kaya ako, that is why I believe na yung sinasabi nilang mabigat ang kamay, hindi masakit. If you ask the patient, no? Di ba sinasabi nila, doon ka magpabunot kasi ang gaang ng kamay. Siguro because hindi na, ang tawag dyan, local anesthetic in dentistry do not really affect pressure. So, sabi nila hanggang, it only up to pain lang daw tayo. Kaya ako naniniwala akong merong mabigat ang kamay. Pag tinanong mo yung patient, hindi masakit. Pero ramdam mo. And totoo naman, di ba? So, you don't ask your patient, masakit ba? Hindi, you don't ask, no, your patient. I remember, sabi nung teacher ko, no, very good student ako. Naaalala ko yung mga sinasabi sa akin ng mga professors ko. No? So sabi niya, don't ask your patient kung mararamdaman. Siyempre mararamdaman. Buhay yung pasyente. Ang tanong dyan is there pain? And for local anesthesia in dentistry, we do not affect pressure. So ramdam ng patient. Okay? So hanggang pain lang daw tayo. And it's usually reversible. Kung hindi ba kung ano yung unang tinanggal, yun yung huling ibabalik. The last function that is affected by the local anesthesia is motor function. Hindi na tayo umaabot dyan. Hanggang autonomics lang tayo. But for other, sa medical, no? Sa medical profession, maabot sila dyan sa motor function. But in dentistry, and yung local anesthetics that we use in dentistry is the same as the local anesthetic that is used for medical. Lidocaine is lidocaine. Yun din ang ginagamit nila for regional, yung spinal. Basta local anesthetics, even in medicine, ang gamit nila is the same local anesthetic that we use in dentistry. Iba lang yung preparation. Plus, hindi sila gumagamit ng vasoconstrictor. No? Umaabot sila ng motor function. So the last sensation which can be affected by the local anesthesia is motor function. And pag reversible nga, di ba, ang local anesthesia, so the last sensation that is lost is the first that is returned. Baliktad. So, babalik muna yung motor function, proprioception, then you have autonomics. So, since this is not a problem in dentistry, hanggang pain lang naman tayo, no? So, reversible siya. Babalik at babalik. Okay? And then it could be a smooth muscle relaxant, yung motor function, but not a problem in dentistry kasi we don't use that, no? And then usually it can increase the pain threshold if it's given IV, not a problem in dentistry. It can be an anticonvulsant, not a problem in dentistry. The most common toxicity associated with local anesthetic is stimulation, followed by depression. Magiging restless muna ang patient. Usually not a problem in dentistry. Sa medical talk, no? So most common toxicity associated, di ba, with local anesthetic, it's stimulation, followed by depression. Magiging restless muna yung patient, tapos a patient will relax, and then death. And this is true for most local anesthetic except lidocaine. Lidocaine goes directly into depression. So, as I've said, it's really not a problem in dentistry. Kasi hanggang doon lang tayo sa sa pain. Okay? Kaya nga, sinasabi nila, local anesthetics is one of the safest drugs that you can use. Okay? Okay. No? So, these are the factors which can affect toxicity. So, ang recommendation nga sa atin, di ba, the least amount of the safest agent. So, when you choose anesthesia, we use the least amount of the safest agent para nalilesen ng toxicity. And then, of course, concentration, rate of injection. I don't know. Kami kasi, ang turo sa amin, sabi ko nga sa inyo, mabait ako. I listen to my professors. Sabi niya sa amin, when you inject daw, you inject slowly. Yung totoo ba yun? Ganun pa rin ba ang turo? Pag daw mabilis. Kasi the faster you inject, I will ask Dr. Beltran. Palagi ko lang nakakalimutan. Yung rate ng injection, mas mabilis daw yung injection mo. Mas mabilis it can go into the systemic circulation. And because, di ba, because of the vasoconstrictor, hindi siya mabilis pumupunta. What causes toxicity of the local anesthetic is pag mataas ang level ng anesthesia sa bloodstream. And kung slow daw ang injection mo, matagal siyang pumunta sa systemic circulation. So it becomes less toxic. Ganun pa ba ang turo? Diba it takes time when you inject? It takes a few minutes to finish the carpule. Ganun kami nun eh. So I don't know, no? So I really do not know when it comes to the anesthesia, but what I know is what I learned. Okay. Another is the vascularity of the area. I think that's clear. The presence of the vasoconstrictor actually makes the local anesthesia safer. Yung volume ng distribution, how much drug goes into the systemic circulation, and yung rate ng metabolism and elimination. I think that's clear. Okay. Huh? So, Toxicity, two things, di ba? Toxicity and allergic reaction. And most toxicity to local anesthesia, it's usually excitation, stimulation, followed by depression, except lidocaine. Lidocaine goes directly into depression. And then another possible toxicity, no, is malignant hyperthermia, which is, sabi nila, this is idiosyncratic reaction and usually sa amides. So some patients who are susceptible can cause malignant hyperthermia, pero sa amides lang, not really for the esters. Okay? And then in case of allergic reaction, sabi nga natin, amides is less allergenic. It's the ester which is more allergenic. So what is inside the carpule of your local anesthetic? Of course, it contains vasoconstrictor, and the most common vasoconstrictor that we use is epinephrine. It prolongs the duration, it lessens toxicity, and it becomes less hemorrhagic. Sometimes it has an antioxidant, which is sodium bisulfite, which is the preservative of the vasoconstrictor. Di ba? Ang ito na naman ako, no? Yung turo sa amin. Okay. Yung usually daw, no? If you look at the carpule, di ba sometimes nagkakaroon ng sedimentation, tapos nagba-brown, that's a sign na medyo contaminated yung anesthesia mo. And this is because of, not of the local anesthetic, it's more because daw of the vasoconstrictor. Nagde-deteriorate yung vasoconstrictor. So meron antioxidant, which actually is the preservative of the vasoconstrictor. And then sometimes it has antiseptic, which is methylparaben. Methylparaben is allergenic. So may mga cases before na hindi sila actually allergic sa anesthesia, allergic sila sa methylparaben. It's a chemical which can produce allergic reaction. And titignan nyo na lang. Pero most of the local anesthetic na wala na yatang methylparaben. Kasi nga, they found it's allergic. It can cause allergic reaction. Hindi siya allergic sa local anesthetic. Allergic siya sa antiseptic. Although sa board exam may tanong na antiseptic use in local anesthesia. It's methylparaben. Or what causes allergic reaction in local anesthesia? Hanapin yung methylparaben. So if you're using a local anesthetics with no methylparaben, so less ang tendency sa allergy. So kaya nga ngayon yata wala ng methylparaben. Okay? Okay, no? So these are the different agents. I think better discuss ito ni Dr. Beltran. So this is still not considered as the safest, as I've said, from the point of pharma, the safest injectable local anesthesia is still Procaine. Lidocaine is twice more toxic than Procaine, but in dentistry, the difference in toxicity is negligible. Kasi nga, hindi naman tayo ganun kadami gumamit ng local anesthetics in dentistry. So, in terms of toxicity, negligible yung difference ng toxicity ng lidocaine or ng amide sa esters. But, theoretically, the safest injectable local anesthetic is Procaine. So another is Mefibacaine, no? So ito yung mga common brand name. I think that's clear, no? So usually ang preferred for patients with heart problem is you use Mefibacaine 3% without a vasoconstrictor. This is the one recommended for patients with cardiac problem. Ang maganda with lidocaine, it does not, meron siyang little vasodilating effect ang lidocaine. So, Unlike ang procaine kasi meron siyang vasodilating property. Kahit ang lidocaine, if it doesn't have to have a very high concentration ng vasoconstrictor kasi hindi naman siya law naman ng vasodilating property niya. Okay. So, procaine. So, ang difference daw among, these are all PABA, which is more recommended for dentistry. The type of ester which is recommended for dentistry is the PABA. So, ang difference lang daw ng mga PABA is toxicity and potency. More toxic, more potent. I think that's clear. And then these are the agent which is available for topical. Benzocaine is benzoic acid derivative, so it's usually used only for topical. Cocaine is also for topical, pero hindi na yan. No? And then you have lidocaine. Lidocaine is available for topical, 2 to 5%, and diclonine. This is a non-ester, non-amide, which is usually, only for topical application. And then I think you know how to do this, how to calculate for the dosage. Yung formula. How to compute for the dosage of your local anesthetics. And then how to compute for the vasoconstrictor. May mga old exams, board exam questions, may computation. So, I suggest, alam niyo naman yan eh. Diba? Tinuturo naman to sa ANEST. No? So, tandaan niyo na lang. Or try to remember how to compute. Kasi may mga nakita akong old exams na merong computation. Ng how to compute for the maximum dosage, and then also for the amount ng concentration ng vasoconstrictor. Yeah. So, these are the toxicity and vasodilating properties, no? So, ng mga different agents. Okay. So, questions about dental. So, sa dental, yun lang naman ang kailangan natin, di ba? Sa dental, antibiotic, local anesthetics, you have your non-narcotic analgesic, and then you have your, hemostatics for bleeding, no? So, balikan lang natin yung part 2, yung specific drugs. So, ang na-discuss ko lang kasi sa inyo is, stop sharing ko na ha. Ay, ba't ako nag-stop sharing? Okay. So, balikan ko lang, mabilis lang naman yung other drugs kasi hindi naman natin siya, we don't really use it in dentistry. So, just for familiarization ng just for at least alam nyo lang kung ano siya, no? So, a refresher, although siguro naman discuss naman yan sa pharma. Okay? So yung mga gamot, so, just in case it's used for what? No, used for choices or something. So, wait lang. Nasaan na yung kanina? Excuse po. Sandali lang po. I'm looking for the... Okay. Yan. Sige nga. Can you identify these drugs? You still remember these drugs? Yeah. Anybody?
Wala pong nakashare po, Doc.
Sorry. Sorry. Hindi pala nakashare. Sorry po. Okay na? Ay, hindi pa rin?
Wala pa po.
Wala pa rin. Wait lang po. Hindi ko yata na-share. Para pag when you do your item analysis sa no, kasi kung alam mo, let's say ang tanong sa iyo, anticoagulant drug which causes like this, like that, and then you're given choices, di pa pili ka na ng alam mong not an anticoagulant. Kaya nga it's good to get familiar, no, with the name of the drug kasi sa pharma exam usually, di ba, if you're trying to review already and if you've seen yung mga old exams, di ba, usually daming gamot, no? So it's good to get familiar with the medicine. At least mas madali kasing mamili. Easier to make a choice, no? So nanguhula ka na nga lang, nahulaan mo din lang naman, no? You're trying to guess it, pero at least educated guess. So mas malaki ang chances that you'll get the correct answer. Kasi most of the question naman nakasulat dyan. Antimicrobial, used for ganito. So try to look for agents that you're sure it's not an antimicrobial. And you can only do that kung alam mo yung gamot. More or less, alam niyo yung gamot. You get my point? Alam mong hindi siya cardiovascular drugs. Analgesic siya. Hindi siya yung tanong, hindi siya yung sagot. Nakuha niyo ko.
Yes, Doc.
So it's good to get familiar with the names of the drugs. Para when you make choices, mas malaki ang chances mo ng pag hinulaan mo, mas tama. Okay? So what is Verapamil? Are you familiar with Verapamil? It's actually what? Of the choices here. Verapamil is calcium channel blocker. It's a cardiovascular drugs. Hopefully, later we'll have time to discuss them. So, cardiovascular drugs. Drugs used for cardiovascular diseases, usually used for high blood pressure. Carbamazepine? Anybody who remembers what is carbamazepine? The drug of choice for tic douloureux, trigeminal neuralgia, Tegretol, hindi na maalala. It's an anticonvulsant. No, it's used to prevent trigeminal neuralgia. Trigeminal neuralgia, di ba? It's a pain associated with the trigeminal nerve. And it's classified as an anticonvulsant. Yung mga barbital, ano sila? Barbiturates. Pag may barbiturates yan. And barbiturates are?
Sedative po, Doc.
Sedative hypnotics, no? That refers to the sedative hypnotics. Basta nakita niya pentobarbital, pinobarbital, usually there are barbiturates. Parang mga beta blockers, di ba, may mga olol. As I've said, ang mga minor tranquilizers, mesepam. Most of them, not all, but most of them have that sepam. Tapos, ang barbiturates, meron silang barbital in the name. Okay. Diazepam, sepam? Kami mention ko lang, ano yung Valium. Most common brand name ng diazepam is Valium. Sepam? Trazepam, Oxazepam, Lorazepam. Ano siya? Sepam.
Tranquilizer.
tranquilizer, minor tranquilizer. Iba yung major, ha? So these are minor tranquilizers. Meperidine is, we'll discuss that later. Narcotic analgesic siya. It's a derivative of morphine. And then hydantoins, diphenhydrantoins. Have you heard of dilantin? Dilantin sodium, diphenylhydantoin? It's an anticonvulsant, no? A hydantoin group. Morphine is what? Morphine.
Narcotic.
Narcotic analgesic. It's an analgesic pero narcotic. It's an pain lang siya din, pero narcotic siya. Hindi siya non-narcotic. And then nitrous oxide is what? You've discussed nitrous oxide.
General anesthesia.
General anesthesia. And then olol. Ano ang
CVS.
olol? Cardiovascular. It's a beta blocker, which is a cardiovascular drugs. No? And then you have isoflurane, fluorane. General anesthesia. So, it's good to get familiar with the name. Para at least nga, no? And most of the time naman, ganun ang tanong eh. Okay? So, it's 3 o'clock. Let's take a break. Okay? So,